The Battle of Dumlupınar Muharebesi, or Baskumandan like Maidan Muharebesi, literally, Field Battle of the Commander-in-Chief, was the last battle in the Greco-Turkish War. The battle was fought from 26 to 30 August 1922 near Dumlupınar, Kütahya in Turkey. Background: following the attrition battle on the Sakarya River in August-September 1921, the Greek army of Asia Minor under General Anastasios Papoulas retreated to a defensive line extending from the town of Izmit to the towns of Eskişehir and Karahisar-i-Sahib. The Greek line formed a 700 km arc stretching in a north-south direction along difficult hilly ground with high hills, called teeps, rising out of broken terrain, and was considered to be easily defensible. A single-track railway line ran from Karahisar to Dumlupınar, a fortified valley town some 30 miles west of Karahisar, surrounded by the mountains Murat Dağ and Ahir Dağ, and thence to Smyrna on the coast. This railway was the main supply route of the Greeks. The Greek headquarters at Smyrna was effectively incapable of communicating with the front or exercising operational control. Preparations. Following the unsuccessful outcome of the Battle of Sakarya, the Greek command structure underwent many changes. Significant forces were withdrawn from the line and redeployed in Thrace for an offensive against Istanbul, which never materialized. The remaining Greek forces were under the overall command of Lieutenant General Georgios Hatzianstis, who had replaced General Papoulas in May 1922, and was widely regarded as mentally unstable. The morale of the Greek troops was low, as many had already been under arms for several years, and there was no prospect for a quick resolution of the war. Political dissent and the fact that they were occupying unfriendly territories further depressed their morale. Despite pressure to attack building up at Ankara, Mustafa Kemal, who had been appointed commander-in-chief of the TBMM government, waited and utilized the breathing space to strengthen his forces and split the Allies through adroit diplomatic moves, ensuring that French and Italian sympathies lay with Turks rather than the Greeks. This diplomatically isolated the pro-Greek British. He finally decided to strike the Greeks in August 1922. Knowing that Turkish forces were only adequate to mount one major offensive, he strengthened the Turkish First Army under Sakali Nureddin Pasha, which was deployed against the southern flank of the Greek salient jutting out to Karahisar. It was a risky gamble, because if the Greek army counter-attacked on his weakened right flank and pivoted south, his forces would be cut off. Opposing forces: Greek forces. The Greek forces were organized in the Army of Asia Minor, under Lieutenant General Georgios Hatzianstis, with a total of 220,000 men in 12 infantry and 1 cavalry division. The Army HQ was located in Smyrna. The Army of Asia Minor comprised 3 corps, under Major General Nicolaus Trikoupis, Major General Kimon Digenais and Major General Petros Soumalas. It also included an independent cavalry division and smaller regiment-sized military commands, mainly for interior protection and anti-guerrilla operations. The total Greek front spanned for 713 kilometers. Each Greek corps had 4 divisions. Iota Corps consisted of the 1st, 4th, 5th and 12th divisions. 2nd Corps consisted of the 2nd, 7th, 9th and 13th divisions. 3rd Corps consisted of the 3rd, 10th, 11th and the independent divisions. Each Greek division had 2 to 4 3-battalion regiments and 8 to 42 artillery pieces. Although numerically strong, the Greeks were very deficient on heavy artillery and cavalry. Turkish forces. The Turkish forces were organized in the Western Front, under Mirliver İsmet Pasha, with a total of 208,000 men in 18 infantry and 5 cavalry divisions. The Western Front consisted of the First Army under Mirliver Nureddin Pasha, based also on Kocatepe Hill, the Second Army under Mirliver Yakub Shevki Pasha based in Doglit, the Kocaeli Group under Colonel Halide Bey and the 5th Cavalry Corps under Mirliver Fareddin Pasha. For the purpose of the offensive, the Turkish command redistributed its forces, reinforcing the First Army. The First Army consisted of the 1st Corps, the 2nd Corps and the 4th Corps. The Second Army consisted of the 3rd Corps and 41st Division, the 6th Corps and the independent 1st and 61st Infantry Divisions. The Kocaeli Group consisted of the 18th Infantry Division plus additional infantry and cavalry units. The 5th Cavalry Corps consisted of the 1st, 2nd and 14th Cavalry Divisions. Each Turkish infantry division consisted of 1 assault infantry battalion, 3 battalion infantry regiments and 12 artillery pieces, with an average total strength of 7,500 men. Opposing plans. Turkish plan. The Turkish plan was to launch converging attacks with the 1st and 2nd Armies against the Greek positions around Kara Hisar. The 1st Army would attack northwards, on the Greek positions southwest of Kara Hisar, held by the Greek I Corps. The 5th Cavalry Corps would assist the 1st Army by infiltrating through less guarded Greek positions in Kirka Valley, and coming behind the Greek front lines. The 2nd Army would attack westwards, on the Greek positions north of Kara Hisar. The first objective was to cut the Smyrna-Kara Hisar and the Kara Hisar-Eskişehir railroad lines, thus cutting off the Greek forces in and around Kara Hisar from Smyrna and the Sea Corps in Eskişehir. In a second phase, the 1st and 2nd Armies would meet in the area south of Kütahya, closing a ring around the Greek forces in Kara Hisar and completely encircling them. Greek plan. The Greek High Command had anticipated a major Turkish offensive. It was however uncertain of the exact direction it would come. The Greeks expected the Turkish attack to come either along the Ankara-Eskişehir railroad line or the Konya-Kara Hisar railroad line. Unknown to them at the time, the railroad from Ankara, that the Greeks destroyed in summer 1921 during the withdrawal after the Battle of Sakarya, was still not restored and was not operational. Following the withdrawal from the Sakarya, initially the Greek corps commands were disbanded, and the Asia Minor Army was organized into 2 groups. The North and South groups, each sufficiently strong to fight independently, and repel any Turkish attack. Following the replacement of the army's commander, and the coming of Lt. General Georgios Hatzianstis, the Greek disposition changed. Hatzianstis re-established the 3 corps commands. All 3 corps controlled parts of the front, but in essence the B Corps operated as a general reserve, while the 1st and 3rd Corps were mostly deployed on the front. In the case of a Turkish offensive, the 2nd Corps would fall under the command of the sector which was attacked. Hatzianstis, despite reports indicating the opposite, believed that the Greek front lines were sufficiently strong to withstand any Turkish attack for enough time that the B Corps would launch its own flanking counterattack on the flanks of the attacking Turkish armies. Prior to the Turkish offensive, Greek intelligence had revealed the Turkish preparations, but it failed to estimate correctly the size of the Turkish formations and the exact date of the Turkish attack. When the Turkish attack opened, Greek reinforcements were still underway to the front.